Hello, fifth graders, and happy Friday. Today we're going to do a lesson about word problems dividing with unit fractions. We've learned how to divide whole numbers by unit fractions, and we've learned how to divide unit fractions by whole numbers. Today we're going to focus on which one we're splitting up when we solve word problems. You're going to do a great job. I know it, and so does Mr. Smiles. Let's dive right into this video. Let's start with our do now. Write 45 and 308 thousandths in standard form. We'll start with our whole number place values, everything in front of the and. What is our whole number? Our whole number is 45. What does the and represent in our word form? It represents the decimal point. 308 thousandths. How do I write 308? It's 308. I need to check that it ends in the thousandths place. That's my unit. It does, so my answer is 45 and 308 thousandths. Now let's round 38 and 7,182 ten-thousandths to the nearest thousandth. Which digit is in the thousandths place? The 8 is in the thousandths place. So which two thousandths is this number between? It's between 38 and 718 thousandths and 38 and 719 thousandths. Which digit is going to help me decide which way to round? The 2 in the next place value is going to help me decide. Does that 2 tell me I'm closer to 38 and 718 thousandths or 38 and 719 thousandths? It tells me I'm closer to 38 and 718 thousandths. 2 is less than 5, so it's less than halfway. Let's do another example. Number 3. Marquelle was doing an art project. She made a poster that had a length of 2/5 feet and a height of 3/5 feet. What was the area of the poster in square feet? What operation do I use to find area? I use multiplication. Area can be found with length times width. So I need to multiply 2/5 times 3/5. What's 2/5 times 3/5? Well, 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 5 is 25. So the area of the poster is 6/25 feet square. Let's do number 4. Miss Ward bought 3 king cakes for the class. She let 7 students share the king cakes evenly. How many king cakes did each student receive? First, when I have a word problem, I need to decide what operation I should use. What operation should I use to solve this word problem? I need to use division because students are sharing the king cakes evenly. What's being split up in this problem? The 3 king cakes are being split by 7 students. So which division sentence could I use? I can use 3 divided by 7. 3 is my dividend. It's what's being split up, the 3 king cakes. And 7 is my divisor. How do I write 3 divided by 7 as a fraction? I can write it as dividend over divisor, or 3/7. Each student got 3/7 of a king cake. Now let's do another problem. 28 and 2/10 minus 5 and 73 hundredths. When I subtract decimals, what's the most important thing to do first? I need to line up the decimal points. Go ahead and line up the decimal points on your paper. I can place a 0 behind the 2 to make sure that I have a digit in every place value. Now I can subtract. What's 28 and 20 hundredths minus 5 and 73 hundredths? Enter your answer in the box. Let's see how you did. I can't subtract 3 from 0, so I have to borrow from the 2. 10 minus 3 is 7. I can't subtract 7 from 1, so I have to borrow again. 11 minus 7 is 4. Bring down my decimal. 7 minus 5 is 2, and 2 minus 0 is 2. The answer is 22 and 47 hundredths. Now let's do another one. 54 hundredths times 7 tenths. Remember, when I multiply decimals, I don't need to line up the decimal points. First, I need to know how many digits are going to be behind the decimal in my product. How many digits will be behind the decimal in my product? Well, hundredths, 1, 2, times tenths, 3, would give me a digit in the thousandths place. 3 digits need to be behind my decimal. Now I can multiply like normal. What's 54 times 7? Well, 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 is 37. I need to place 3 digits behind the decimal. So where would my decimal point go? It would go in front of the 3. The correct answer is 378 thousandths. Now let's quickly complete our multiplication tables. Go ahead and fill in the multiples of 2 on your paper, then enter them on the computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now write the multiples of 3, then enter them on your computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now write the multiples of 4, then enter them on your computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now write the multiples of 5 on your paper, then enter them on your computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now write the multiples of 6 on your paper, then enter them on the computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now write the multiples of 7 on your paper, then enter them on your computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now enter the multiples of 8 on your paper, then enter them on the computer. Check to make sure your multiples are correct. Now write the multiples of 9 down on your paper, then enter them on the computer. Check to see your multiples are correct. Remember, the faster you can roll your multiples, the better you'll be at all of 5th grade math. Now let's start today's lesson. Today we are going to solve fraction division word problems. Fill that in on the line. Now let's fill in our key points. Blank means splitting into equal groups. Division means splitting into equal groups. The blank is the number we are splitting up. What goes in that blank? Dividend. The dividend is the number we are splitting up. The blank is the number we are dividing by. It can be the number of groups or the number in each group. What goes in that blank? Divisor goes in that blank. The divisor is the number we are dividing by. The blank is the answer. It can be the number of groups or the number in each group. What goes in that blank? Quotient goes in that blank. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. When dividing with unit fractions, always start your model with the dividend, or what is being split up. If the dividend is a whole number, start with a whole number. If the dividend is a fraction, start with a fraction. Let's do some examples. Mr. Gibson has 1/2 of a pizza left after school celebration. He lets his 3 siblings share the remaining pizza evenly. What fraction of a whole pizza will each sibling receive? I know this is a division problem because something is being split up. What's being split up in this problem? 1/2 of a pizza is being split up between 3 siblings. So what division problem could I use? I'm dividing 1/2 pizza across 3 groups. What am I going to draw to start my model? I'm going to draw 1/2. Draw 1/2 on your paper now. I need to split that 1/2 into 3 pieces. So how many horizontal lines do I need to draw across? I need to draw 2 horizontal lines across. Remember, each sibling gets 1 piece. So what fraction of the whole pizza did each sibling get? Well, each sibling got 1 piece, and now the whole pizza is cut into 6 pieces. So the answer is 1/6. Let's do another example. Raymond bought 2 pizzas for a birthday party. He cut each pizza into slices that were 1/4 of a pizza. How many slices of pizza did Raymond cut? This is a division problem because something's being split up. What's being split up in this problem? 2 pizzas are being split up. So what division sentence can I use? I'm dividing 2 by 1/4. I'm seeing how many 1/4 slices are inside of 2 pizzas. So what am I going to start my model with? I'm going to start my model with 2 wholes because that's the dividend. How many pieces should I cut each whole into? I should cut each whole into 4 pieces because 4 is the denominator. How many lines do I need to draw to cut each whole into 4 pieces? I need to draw 3 lines. And each one represents 1/4 of a pizza. Make sure the model on your paper looks exactly like the one on my screen. So how many pieces could Raymond cut? He could cut 8. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Raymond cut 8 slices. Let's do a couple more together. Mr. Jones bought 4 feet of string for an art project. He cut the string into pieces that are each 1/3 foot long. How many pieces of string did he cut? What's being split up in this problem? 4 feet of string is being split up. What division sentence could I use? 4 divided by 1/3. What should I start my model with? 4 is my dividend, so I'm going to start by drawing 4 holes. How many pieces do I need to cut each hole into? I need to cut each hole into 3 pieces because that's my denominator. How many lines should I draw to cut it into 3 pieces? I should draw 2 lines to cut it into thirds. Then I'm going to label my thirds. Make sure the model on your paper looks like mine on the screen. Make sure you're labeling all of your thirds. Now I can count the thirds that I have. How many pieces of string did Mr. Jones cut? Well, he cut 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 pieces. Let's do another one. Jalen has 1/3 pound of meat she is cooking for dinner. 5 people will share the meat equally. How many pounds of meat will each person get? What's being split up in this problem? 1/3 pound of meat is being split up in this problem. So what division sentence can I use? I can divide 1/3 divided by 5. What am I going to start my model with? I'm going to start my model with 1/3. Draw 1/3 on your paper now. I need to cut that 1/3 into 5 pieces. How many lines should I draw across? I should draw 4 lines across. And each person gets 1 piece. What fraction does each person now have? How many pounds of meat? Well, each person gets 1 piece, and now there are 15 total pieces. So the answer is 1/15. We'll do 2 more together, then you try 4 on your own. Roshan has 1/4 of a king-size chocolate bar. He lets 4 friends share the bar equally. What fraction of a chocolate bar does each friend receive? What's being split up in this problem? 1/4 of a king-size chocolate bar. So what division sentence can I use? I'm dividing 1/4 divided by 4. What am I going to start my model with? I'm going to start my model with 1/4. Draw that on your paper now. How many pieces do I need to cut that 1/4 into? I need to cut it into 4 pieces. So how many lines do I need to draw? I need to draw 3 lines across. Each person gets 1 piece. So what fraction of the chocolate bar did each person get? Well, each person got 1 piece, and the bar is now split into 16 pieces. So the answer is 1/16. Let's try one more together. Alviana is running in a race. The race is 3 miles long. Every half mile, there is a station for runners to get water. How many water stations are there? What's being split up in this problem? 3 miles is being split up. We're seeing how many 1/2 miles are inside of 3. So what division problem am I going to use? I'm going to divide 3 divided by 1/2. What should I start my model with? I should start my model with 3 holes. Go ahead and draw them on your paper now. How many pieces do I need to split each hole into? I need to split each hole into 2 pieces because 2 is the denominator of the fraction. And I'm going to label my halves. Do that now on your paper. So, how many 1/2 miles are inside of 3? How many water stations will there be? Well, there will be 2, 4, 6. 6 water stations. Now you try a few. JP had 4 pounds of ground beef. He used it to make hamburgers that were each 1/2 pound. How many hamburgers could JP make? Write your division sentence, draw your model, and then answer the question. The correct answer is 8. JP is splitting the 4 pounds of ground beef, so my division sentence is 4 divided by 1/2. I start my model with 4 holes and cut each hole in half. There are 8 halves inside of 4, so the answer is 8. Let's do another. Alexis had half of a birthday cake left after her party. She let 5 friends share the cake evenly. What fraction of a cake did each friend receive? Go ahead and solve that problem now. Make sure you write your division sentence, draw your model, and then answer the question. Each friend received 1/10 of the cake. I'm splitting 1/2 of a birthday cake, so I start with 1/2 in my model, 1/2 divided by 5. I split it into 5 pieces, and each friend gets 1. The answer is 1/10. Dominic had 1/3 of a loaf of bread. He gave each of 4 guests the same amount of bread. What fraction of a loaf did each guest receive? Go ahead and solve that problem now. Each guest received 1/12 of a loaf. Let's do the last problem. Kaylin had 1/4 gallon of paint. She poured it evenly into 3 different containers. How much paint did Kaylin put in each container? Go ahead and solve that problem now. She put 1/12 gallon in each container. She split 1/4 gallon of paint into 3 groups, which makes 1/12. You've done a great job with this lesson. Go to IXL Skill N.4. Get a SMART score of at least 90. You're going to crush it.